Coach Staley does a great job. He's done a great job ever since he kind of took some, obviously, the stuff from Vic, and he's kind of, he's got his own flavor of things he does schematically, certainly in their first year. So they're kind of getting familiar with their personnel and the fit. They're playing really well in a lot of phases. So physical front, very tough, big guys on the edge. 90s really becoming a really good player inside in all three downs. The linebackers certainly are very active, instinctive. 56 and 94, between the two of them, they got way more experience than I do in the National Football League. So those two guys seem to know when things are happening, when they're coming. You can tell how much communication that they're involved in on the defense. So secondaries, tight coverage, good disguise, challenge you with pressures on third down. So they do a great job, always have. And this group is a group that we're certainly getting familiar with, and excited for the opportunity to go play another game on the road.
Josh McDaniels calling out some of those Saints veterans that we have talked about here this morning on Foxborough Rush. Demario Davis, Cam Jordan, of course. And we say hello and welcome to Luke Johnson, who covers this team. Luke, great to have you here with us. Thanks for making some time.
It's my pleasure, y'all. Thank you for having me on.
All right, so let's just start with this. Big win for the Saints last weekend. Getting that first W with Kellen Moore there as the head coach, getting that first W for the quarterback and Spencer Rattler. What did that mean to this team?
It meant everything, right? They'd been very close for 3 out of their first 4 games, playing some pretty good teams. They played the Buffalo Bills really tight up in Buffalo. They played the 49ers really tight at home against Mac Jones. I think a lot of us thought they might have a chance to win that because of Mac, and we've seen in the last couple weeks that the Mac Jones that y'all are familiar with up in New England is not the same one that is in the Kyle Shanahan offense. They've been close. So having it actually happen against, I think what we're seeing is a pretty decent Giants team, a Giants team that is surprisingly good with Jackson Dart. We saw it last night. I think that can maybe start some stuff here. I'm still not expecting them to be like in the mix for like a playoff spot or anything like that. I'm not saying anything like that. But I think Kellen Moore and Brandon Staley and this new regime just have them definitely pointing in the right direction. It's been a while since the arrow's been pointing up here in New Orleans.
Given what we saw last week, I think nationally everybody sees the turnovers, 5 turnovers. You're gonna probably win the game if you force 5 turnovers. But outside of that, what are some of the things that they did last week that they maybe weren't doing in the games that they were close, but they weren't coming away with the wins?
Well, the one thing they did is they finally hit on an explosive. This is an offense that we saw it last year with Clint Kubiak pulling the strings on it. When they had their guys, they were hitting on explosive after explosive after explosive, and it just wasn't the case here. They had one play of 25 plus yards in their first 4 games of the season. So, I think they've changed some stuff up. They're playing a lot more heavy personnel now than they were in the early portion of the season. They're forcing teams to kind of suck in a little bit. And when you got a player the caliber of Rashid Shaheed, who has 16 or 17 plays of 40 plus yards since he debuted, only Tyreek Hill has more. They finally connected on one, and that was encouraging to see. Their offense is still a work in progress. Spencer Rattler's been a lot better than I think a lot of people outside of New Orleans anticipated he would be. But, they turned the ball over 5 times last week. They got 6 points offensively off those turnovers. They scored 1 touchdown last week. So they're still finding their rhythm. But I think we're seeing the run game take a little bit of a step forward. We're seeing Spencer Rattler continue to avoid the negative plays. And if he can hit on some more of those explosives, it can actually be a pretty decent offense.
Yeah, you said maybe he's playing better than what a lot of people anticipated he would play. There was obviously a quarterback battle going in. It went right down to the wire, Luke. I don't have to tell you that. But once he got the job, how would you describe his play thus far this season?
It's just been such a drastic step forward from his rookie year, which is why I think the expectations were so low on the Saints. His rookie year, he was playing with like preseason week 4 lineups. It was like all his receivers were gone, all the offensive linemen were gone. Alvin Kamara was limited. They just had nobody in the lineup, and he played like it. He took a bunch of sacks last year. He made a bunch of turnovers. He had these great starts to games, and then he just completely self-destruct in the second half of these games. So he looked like a fifth-round rookie quarterback last year. And this year, under Kellen Moore, who I think is just a smarter, just down-to-down play caller, who is somebody he preaches this threes and layups mentality to him. If the deep shot's not there, just take the check down, live to play another day. I think Spencer's really bought into that. He's getting sacked at like a much lower rate. He's getting sacked on like half the percentage of his dropbacks that he did last year. He's only got one interception this year, though he has had two taken away by penalties. And that's really the thing. He's just operating the offense. He's not making any mistakes. He's not making a lot of big, crazy good plays. He's missed a lot of potential touchdown throws. It hasn't been like he's come out and just said like, I am the franchise quarterback, but he's done a lot of just avoiding the bad plays that you sometimes expect young quarterbacks to make.
Moving over to the other side of the ball, we talked about the veterans, and Josh McDaniels talked about the veterans. Demario Davis and Cam Jordan have like 25 years of experience between them, but it's been the young players that I think have made the difference for him. Jonas Sanker and Brian Brzee and these guys who really seem to exploded onto the scene or taken a step forward this year. What have you seen out of them, and have they really been kind of the difference, or do you think it's been kind of a scheme, a complete and total overhaul of the scheme that's made that difference?
I think it's a little bit of both. The young guys are definitely playing better. Kool-Aid McKinstry is a second-year player. He just turned 23. He had his first interceptions the other day. He's taken a step forward. Brzee, I think, is being more of a complete player. We saw him really as just – he put up good sack numbers his first 2 years, but he's one of the worst run-defending D tackles in all of football. He's gotten better there. They added Devon Godshaw in a trade with the Patriots. He's kind of solidified their run defense a little bit. And then I think they're getting more out of guys like Cam Jordan and Demario Davis, who I think, despite being in their mid to late 30s, are actually playing pretty well for him. And now you add Chase Young to the mix this week, likely. We don't know the injury report yet on Friday morning, but it's looking like he's going to play. And guys like he was looking like the Chase Young we all expected him to be when he was coming out of college in training camp. I think Brandon Staley knows how to use that type of player. So we'll see. I mean, people have said that about Chase Young for probably like 6 or 7 years, and has just never put it together on the field. But I'm looking forward to seeing what it looks like with him out there. And then you brought up Jonas Sanker. He's somebody who, I thought would find a role on this team in some capacity, like as a power slot defender or something like that. He's a great downhill player, but I didn't know what he was like in coverage. Then he goes out and he picks off Josh Allen. It's the first interception Josh Allen threw. He's breaking up passes left and right. He's always around the ball. He is like a really instinctive player, a really physical player. He's a lot of fun to watch. If you're a Patriots fan watching this game, just be on the lookout for number 33. He's just a fun young player, and he's somebody who, he's made his mistakes at times, but he's like part of the reason why they feel good about this defense moving forward.
Luke, I'm curious, can you just take me inside the locker room and what the feel is this week, what the guys are talking about, after getting a win, but knowing, as Mike Vrabel said, up here this week, that doesn't matter. That's history. What we did last week, it actually doesn't translate to this week. It is a new week. We got to go do our thing again. I'm curious what the feel is there in New Orleans now that they were able to get a W.
Yeah. I don't think I think they're realistic about what their team is this year. I think they understand that. Getting the win was really really huge for those guys. I mean, they were just not having very much fun those first 4 weeks, especially guys like Cam Jordan and Demario Davis who were like, yeah, we're close. Who cares? We're 15 years into our career. We don't want to be close anymore. So those guys the vibe has definitely been different in the locker room this week. They're having a little bit more fun, I think, but they understand that this franchise is at a point where they're trying to basically build from the ground up. So I don't think they're going to go into this with any sense of false confidence or anything like that. But I do think that they believe in what Kellen Moore is selling, which is, frankly, that was kind of the knock on Kellen Moore coming in, right? Could he get the guys to believe in him, because he's like a very quiet guy. He's not like the movie head coach who's like screaming at guys, getting in their face or whatever. It's like he's just got like this, like, hey, this is how we're gonna do it. I'm gonna take care of you. You guys take care of me, and we're gonna get through this stuff together. I think they've bought into that, but I'm positive they're not like looking at this like, hell yeah, we got that one. Let's string this together, get like 13 more here, and go make a Super Bowl run. I think they understand where they're at.
I'm always curious, when we talk to people from the other side of a matchup, kind of how they view New England and the Patriots, because for 3-4 years now, it's been, I don't really know what's going on over there. It's not the team that we're used to, but it seems like it's moving kind of back into that direction. What have you seen just in preparation for this game out of the Patriots, and some of the good, some of the bad, some of the ugly?
Yeah, I mean, look, the last time I went to New England was a 2022 season, I think it was. And
that was the death of Mac Jones.
Dennis Allen's first year, and they beat him 34-0. I think Mac Jones had 3 turnovers, and that was the stage. That was a stage the Saints were at last year, right? Where you're just like, oh, this team is bad. They've got nothing to work with. Their quarterback stinks. They got a coach who needs to go. It was terrible. And you look at it now, and now they are like where the Saints want to be next year, right? They got in a really good cap situation. They got all this money. They spent it wisely on good free agents. I think Milton Williams has been awesome for them. I think Harold Landry has been awesome for them. Harold Landry is somebody who, like, a lot of people were like, just throw him on the scrap heap. He's done. He gets with Mike Vrabel, and he's been great. Stefon Diggs, I was like, there's no way a 30-plus-year-old receiver comes back from that kind of injury. He was awesome last week. And obviously the engine that runs the whole thing is Drake Maye. Right. And that's the position the Saints are in right now, where they're like trying to find that answer. It's a position that the Pats were in after Brady left. You're hoping that you find the guy, and they found the guy. It's been really cool to watch just from afar, like seeing a team that was just left for dead, find its guy and see how quickly that stuff can turn around. The Saints have been in like salary cap hell for ever since like I was in diapers. Eternity? It feels like, yeah. So, but if you look at the Saints books, 2027, like, they're going to be in really good shape as long as they don't make a lot of really stupid decisions between now and then, right? They all their big contracts are coming off the books. All that dead money is finally off the books. Like, they're paying like $60 million in dead money this year, and they paid like $50 million last year and $40 million the year before that. Like, all that stuff's going to be gone. The guys who are like part of that 2017 draft class who are going to be aging out, they're not going to be signing big contracts anymore. Yeah. Like, the Saints are going to be in position, if they get a quarterback this year, to be what the Patriots are now. So I think it's been interesting to watch from my perspective.
Let me ask you this, because obviously, Drake Maye with, the play that he made, getting dragged down by the chest plate and finding Steph Diggs, late in that game, Sunday night against Buffalo, on that national stage, first chance to play on that. And I think a lot of people around the league and a lot of people around football took notice, right? I mean, you don't go in and beat the Buffalo Bills and who they are at this point in the manner in which the Patriots did and not have people notice. So what has been the talk there, particularly among the defense about contending with Drake Maye this weekend?
Well, the funny thing is, like, he is exactly like the type of quarterback they have traditionally not liked to face. Somebody who can stretch the field vertically, right? They've had their problems giving up big plays in the past, both under Dennis Allen and even this year. Brandon Staley likes to talk about like how they've limited the explosives, but they've given up their share of them, especially in critical moments. And then to me, I mean, the biggest thing that he does that is going to just drive the Saints nuts is his escapability, his mobility. And to do it at 6'5" and whatever, 220 pounds, however big he is, that's going to give him problems. Like, consistently over the years, this defense has just really, really, really struggled against mobile quarterbacks, guys who could extend plays and who can pick up yards on the ground. even Jackson Dart last week. I think Jackson Dart might have had 50 yards rushing in the first half last week. Kyler Murray gave him problems. Yeah. Josh Allen had a huge 30-yard scramble where he juked the linebacker out of his cleats, and that set up the touchdown that put them way out ahead. So that to me is, I think, the biggest concern coming into this, even though Drake is going to be able to kill you with his arm, and he's got these smart receivers who know how to beat the zones the Saints are going to play. To me, it's the escapability and turning a 3rd and 12 into a positive first down for the Patriots. That's going to be the stuff to watch.
Before we
Luke,
let
real
you
quick,
go,
just give us a prediction.
Yep.
I actually filed it to. I filed it to my editors this morning. I picked the Patriots to win 26-20, which is pretty much in line with every other game the Saints have played this year. So I expect it to be a competitive game, but I just don't think the Saints right now have enough offensive juice to compete with Drake Maye and those pass catchers there.
We'll find out come 1:00 Eastern time on Sunday from the Superdome. Luke Johnson, thanks for being with us, and good luck with the coverage throughout the rest of the season.
Thanks, y'all. Have a great day.